Okay, let's dive into the Jupiter Wagons earnings update for Q4 and financial year 2025. The first thing we see after the safe harbor statement is a summary of the key financial highlights for the full year.
Right? In this investor presentation, the total income for financial year 2025 is 4008 crore rupees, which is up 9.3% year over year. Not bad at all.
Agreed. And the EBITDA for financial year 2025 is 578 crore rupees, up 18% year over year. That's a pretty significant jump.
Definitely. And it looks like their EBITDA margin improved to 14.6% in financial year 2025 from 13.4% in financial year 2024. The presentation highlights that Jupiter Wagons continues to deliver industry-leading margins. Is that something you'd agree with based on their peers?
That's a good question. We would need to compare to their competitors to have a good measure. For now, this is what they report in the investor presentation. Moving on, their PAT for financial year 2025 stood at 380 crore rupees, higher by 14.9% year over year, with a PAT margin of 9.5%.
The last bullet point mentions an EPS for financial year 2025 of 9.1 rupees per share of a face value of 10 rupees each.
Okay, let's dig a little deeper into those financial year 2025 financials. On the next slide, we can see a visual representation of those key figures. Revenue is up 9% to 3,963 crore rupees, EBITDA up 18% to 578 crore rupees, and PAT up 15% to 380 crore rupees.
Visually, it reinforces the growth story we just saw, but I'm curious about the drivers behind that EBITDA jump. Is it purely revenue growth, or are there cost efficiencies at play? We'll need to look at the detailed P&L later.
Agreed. Let's move to the next slide. Now we're looking at Q4 financial year 2025 financial highlights. Revenue is actually slightly down compared to Q4 financial year 2024.
Yeah, revenue is 1045 crore rupees in Q4 financial year 2025 compared to 1115 crore rupees in Q4 financial year 2024. That's a decline of about 6%. That's something worth noting.
While EBITDA is up slightly, 153 crore rupees in Q4 financial year 2025 versus 147 crore rupees in Q4 financial year 2024.
It's up slightly, but PAT is down a bit. 103 crore rupees versus 105 crore rupees.
Definitely something to keep an eye on. It looks like the full year was strong, but Q4 was a bit weaker on the revenue side. Let's move on to the actual consolidated profit and loss statement on the next slide to get a clearer picture.
Okay, this is more detailed. Looking at the Q4 numbers, the revenue decline year on year is confirmed negative 6.4%. Cost of raw materials also decreased by 10.6%.
Employee costs increased quite a bit, up 53.3% year on year for the quarter. Other expenses are also up 9.3%.
Okay, so the reduction in raw material costs is helping, but those increases in employee costs and other expenses are eating into that. But EBITDA is up 3.6%. Digging into the full year, it looks like raw material costs only increased by 5.2%, while employee costs jumped 49.1% and other expenses 21.6%.
Depreciation is also up significantly, 94.5% for the quarter and 90.3% for the full year.
That's a big jump, possibly due to new capital expenditures related to their expansion plans. We need to remember to look for that later in the presentation. Finance costs are also up significantly, 54.7% for the quarter and 47.4% for the full year.
That could be due to increased borrowing. Overall, the PAT for the full year is up 14.9%, but the Q4 PAT is down slightly. The devil is in the details here. Let's go to the consolidated balance sheet, which is covered on the next slide.
All right. On the asset side, we see property, plant and equipment increase significantly from 618.6 crore rupees to 722.8 crore rupees.
Intangible assets also went up, as did capital work in progress.
The big jump is in other non-current assets, from 33.7 crore rupees to 345.4 crore rupees. Any idea what might be driving that?
Could be long-term investments or prepayments. It's not clear from the slide. On the current assets side, inventories decreased, which is generally a good sign, while trade receivables increased substantially from 490.8 crore rupees to 814.9 crore rupees.
An increase in trade receivables could indicate slower collections, which is something to monitor. Cash and cash equivalents also increased significantly, from 213.0 crore rupees to 593.6 crore rupees.
On the equity and liability side, equity share capital is up slightly. Other equity more than doubled, from 1,203.9 crore rupees to 2,329.8 crore rupees.
That's likely from the equity fund issuance mentioned in the financial highlights.
That's a good point. Borrowings also increased, both non-current and current.
Trade payables decreased, which could be related to improved payment terms. Other current liabilities decreased as well. Now let's shift over to the standalone financials on the next slide.
Here we see the key financial highlights for financial year 2025 on a standalone basis. Total income is 3,905 crore rupees, up 6.6% year-over-year.
EBITDA is 548 crore rupees, up 11.6% year-over-year, with an EBITDA margin of 14.2%.
And PAT is 373 crore rupees, up 12.1% year-over-year, with a PAT margin of 9.6%.
The EPS for financial year 2025 is 8.9 rupees per share. Overall, it's a similar story to the consolidated numbers but slightly lower growth rates.
Now let's visualize this. The next slide shows the 5-year trend with revenue climbing. Total revenue up year-over-year.
Definitely a healthy trend, with revenue climbing from 996 crore rupees to 3,871 crore rupees.
EBITDA has also seen a strong rise, going from 106 crore rupees in FY21 to 548 crore rupees in FY25. That's a 4-year CAGR of 51%.
And PAT has grown even faster, increasing from 54 crore rupees to 373 crore rupees over the same period. That's a 62% CAGR in 4 years. Very impressive profitability growth.
The next slide covers the key Q4 financial year 2025 standalone. Revenue for the quarter is down, while EBITDA and PAT are also down.
Yeah, revenue is 1,002 crore rupees in Q4 financial year 2025 compared to 1,113 crore rupees in Q4 financial year 2024. EBITDA is 145 crore rupees versus 148 and PAT is 97 compared to 104. It's mostly down.
Moving to the standalone profit and loss statement, we see similar trends to the consolidated P&L.
Revenue is down 10% for the quarter but up 6.3% for the full year. Raw material costs decreased, but employee costs and other expenses increased.
Depreciation and finance costs are also up.
PAT is down 6.6% for the quarter but up 12.1% for the full year. Let's move to the standalone balance sheet on the next slide.
Okay, on the asset side, we see property, plant and equipment increased, as did financial assets. Inventories decreased, while trade receivables increased.
Cash and cash equivalents also increased. On the equity and liabilities side, other equity increased significantly. Borrowings increased while trade payables decreased.
Alright, let's look at the 5-year trend on the next slide. This highlights profitability, efficiency and liquidity.
Looking at profitability, the EBITDA margin rose from 10.7% to 14.2%. And PAT margin also showed growth from 5.4% to 9.6%.
On the efficiency side, inventory turnover improved from 3.5 to 3.7 over 5 years, though it dipped slightly from last year. Debtors turnover has come down from 18.2 to 6.1, indicating collections have slowed, while creditors turnover is at 6.3, similar to where it started.
If we look at return ratios, ROCE increased from 11.5% to a peak of nearly 25% last year, before settling at 17.6% in FY25. ROE followed a similar trend, rising from 8.7% to 27.8% and now at 17.2%, partly due to the equity fund issuance this year.
Liquidity has strengthened, with the current ratio rising from 1.6 to 2.1, showing better short-term financial health. The debt-to-equity ratio has also improved, dropping from 0.22 to 0.13, reflecting a stronger balance sheet and lower leverage. The next slide shows us the Q4 and financial year 2025 operating highlights. We can see railway wagons has seen some fluctuation between Q3 and Q4, but on the year is up almost 700.
It also mentions an order book of 6,303.6 crore rupees as of March 31st, 2025. That gives us some visibility into future revenue. The next slide features a message from the Managing Director, Mr. Vivek Lohia.
He highlights the strong financial performance and strategic milestones. He mentions a substantial order for wheelsets from Braithwaite and a 600 crore rupees order from Ambuja Cement and ACC.
He also talks about the inauguration of their Pithampur facility for electric mobility and their progress in battery production. Finally, he mentions the land allotment for the forged wheel and axle plant at Odisha.
On the next slide are the key highlights for financial year 2025.
The first order mentioned is the 600 crore rupees order from Ambuja Cement and ACC Limited for manufacturing and supplying BCFCM rake wagons.
It also talks about the Jupiter Tatravagonka rail wheel factory, forged rail wheel and axle project.
Finally, it lists highlights for Jupiter Electric Mobility, including the inauguration of their advanced manufacturing facility at Pithampur and their MOU with Porter.
Let's check out the details for ELCVs on the next slide.
Jupiter Wagons has entered the electric logistics market. They also inaugurated a 2.5-acre manufacturing facility.
In the next section it says, Jupiter Wagons are acquiring land in Khurda, Odisha. This marks a strategic expansion for Jupiter Wagons Limited.
This facility supports Make in India and Atmanirbhar Bharat and is expected to generate thousands of jobs. It will begin operations by CY 2027.
The presentation then provides an overview of Jupiter Wagons' robust manufacturing capabilities.
Yes, they have a widespread manufacturing footprint across India, with specialized units in places like Jabalpur, Kolkata, Aurangabad, Odisha, Body, Indore, and Jamshedpur. Each facility focuses on different products, like load bodies for commercial vehicles, wagons, brake systems, forged wheel sets, and even electric LCV manufacturing.
That's right. For example, in Jabalpur, they have 4 units producing everything from load bodies to brake discs for high-speed passenger coaches, some in joint ventures with global players. Kolkata is another major hub with units making wagons, couplers, draft gears, and advanced brake systems, including collaborations with international partners.
Their Aurangabad and Odisha plants focus on wheels, axles, and forged wheel sets, while Indore and Baddi handle commercial vehicle load bodies and containers. Plus, there's a development center for electric LCVs in Pune, showing their push into new mobility solutions.
The next slide highlights their technology alliances with best-in-class global players.
Exactly. They've partnered with Tatravagonka from Europe as a strategic investor and have joint ventures with Kovis for brake discs and axles, DAKOCZ for advanced brake systems, and Taleras Allegra for railway track equipment. These collaborations help them bring world-class technology and products to the Indian market.
These alliances not only enhance their product portfolio but also strengthen their position in both domestic and export markets, ensuring they stay at the forefront of innovation in the rail and mobility sectors.
The presentation wraps up with a contact for investor relations, making it easy for stakeholders to reach out with any questions or for further information.